All right, hey, here we are, rodeo today. We're over at the Best Hat Store. I got my good buddy Ryan right here. He's going to tell us a little bit about American hats. We're going to talk about a little bit hat etiquette. We're going to talk about the store here at Best Hat Store and y'all evolving into American hats. Ryan, how long have y'all been here at the Best Hat Store?
This is, let's see, this would be my 7th year that I've been here. Danny also works here. He's been here 8 years, almost 8 years. This store has been here since 1996. So this is our 25th anniversary.
And the store owner's name
Susan and Keith Maddox.
Yes. And we lost Keith about 2 years ago?
2019. September of 2019.
We lost him, and that's sad. He was good for the Cowboys, and he's got his brand here, and we'll look at this, and it's called Positive Times, and Keith come up with that. We always thought it was +5, you know, when he said.
Yeah.
But that's on a lot of these American hats, and people ask us all the time what that brand is, and it stands for Positive Times.
+X, Positive Times. So that was Keith's brand and kind of his motto to live by, and it was his legacy that he kind of left us, and it's really become a really neat movement in the rodeo world that everybody wants to wear that patch on their hat because it's a great thing to stand by, especially in these times that we're in today.
Our good friend that we'll meet here in a minute, Scott Quinn, he's coming over today, and we're going to teach in a minute how to crease a hat and all this. He called me, he says, what does that XS mean on the hat? And I had to tell him about Positive Times.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. Tell us about loading this store up. Last year, we was lucky enough that the NFR was here in Texas. Being a Texans, we wished it'd stay here, but y'all's big week is during the National Finals Rodeo in Vegas, so y'all essentially pack this store up and tell us about how.
A couple of guys that work here at the store will load up all the product and stuff from American Hat, and we take about 2,000 hats out there to the NFR there in Vegas, and set up out there for all 10 days and have a couple days earlier to set up. So they're out there for about almost 15 days in a long stretch and selling hats every day. Mostly felt hats out there during that time of year for sure. There's a few straw hats out there as well, but man, we sell almost 2,000 hats out there.
One of the neat things, and I'll take my American hat off here, all the hats here come open crown, and we'll get in that in a minute, but y'all crease the hats to people's personality.
Yeah. A lot of people come in here, maybe they've worn a hat a long time, maybe they haven't, maybe it's their first hat, and we just kind of visit with them and get to know them a little bit and figure out what kind of crease they want on their hat. Sometimes they're like, I don't know what I want. It's kind of like, what do you think I need? So we kind of have some, measurements. We look at their face and their shape or what they might do in the arena or what they're going to wear that hat for, and just kind of give them a classic look maybe or something like that. But it's all personal preference on how they want to wear their hat.
Talk to me a little bit about the new movement of women wearing hats, and I think y'all were pioneering that and getting now to where I see a lot of women coming out here, and they'll come in and they'll get a hat, and y'all will fix that up and put a different style.
Yeah.
I think Danny's the master of that.
Yeah, so we started doing that years ago now, and it's become a really big thing that women wearing the fedora. So the ladies are coming in here not only getting cowboy hats, but they're getting, we call them fashion hats or fedoras, and we can cut these felt hats down and shape them up in any kind of shape that they want, put some, ribbons on them and some feathers or some different things on them, do some distressing and things like that the ladies really love.
I think it adds a lot to the women's personality because they'll get and we'll talk about that a little bit. Like, I've had this same hat crease my whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it. This is, I don't know what that is, but it's my crease.
Yeah.
And then like you wear, it looks like a cattleman, but Jim Shoulders had the famous, what do you call that, the diamond?
That's, what did he have? He had the sloped RCA, I think.
No, he had let me look at the deal. It's the diamond.
I don't know if it's on that.
It's pinched in the front like this.
Oh, yeah, pinch front.
Yeah.
We call it a pinch front or a teardrop maybe on some of them, some different names for it, but yeah, that's right.
And then, there's several deals, the cattleman, the minic. I mean, this minic's a little bit like mine. I mean, that's
it's kind of similar to a minic there.
And then they got the Gus, and that's kind of after Augustus McCrae and Lonesome Dove, so.
old creases that have been around a long time that kind of just been a little bit modified here and there through the years. And some people like a little bit more of a rounded front on their brim, or maybe they want them sharper, square. It's kind of all personal preference.
Yeah, back in the early days, my dad, they pointed them toward the cattle, what we call it. They'd fold it up there and it'd be pointed, just really round. And I know Danny, he's developed this new crease. Here's what I call it, he run into the desk. He's got a dent in the front of it.
Yeah.
But that's a real old school crease. I mean, they creased a lot of hats like that in the 30s and 40s, I think.
Yeah. They kind of took on their own personalities in those days because they didn't exactly shape them so much. They just kind of wore them and wore a shape into them, you know, and the way that they grabbed it or they reached up here and picked their hat up off their head is kind of how they took its shape on.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I did not know that. All right, let's talk about hat etiquette.
Hat etiquette.
When did everybody's deal? Felts and straws. What's your idea?
So, kind of the rule of thumb is Easter is when you want to put your felt hat on, and you wear your your straw hat. Your straw hat from Easter through summer, and then up to Labor Day. Labor Day is when you're going to start putting your felt hat back on and wearing your felt hat through the fall and through the winter.
We're going to visit with Scott here in a minute, and his deal was come from his grandma that she goes with the Easter to put the straw on, but wears his straw up until it frosts.
Yeah.
So and mine, I guess for myself, I usually wear a straw till it gets cold, and then I'll put my felt on, but always went back to the straw way before Easter, would go with the Houston Rodeo. Because American Hat Company, originally back earlier, even before Keith owned it, come out of Houston, Texas. There was a place down there called Gary American Hats. And we would go down there and get the $5 Bengora.
Yeah.
And that was a hat everybody wore back in them days for two reasons. One, you couldn't tear it up.
Yeah, it was a tough hat. We still have it today.
Really? It's still in y'all's line? Good.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you want to tell them about it? Where are we located over here?
We're located at 2739 North Main in Fort Worth, Texas, just a little bit north of the Stockyards area. We're open 10 to 6 Monday through Saturday. We're closed on Sundays.
There we go.